What's up everyone, welcome to the video. I have Jane Harvey. This is Vinyl Wednesdays. On Wednesdays, I grab a record, I cut it up, and I make a beat. Classic workflow. We're still doing it. We're still cutting records and making beats. Yeah, before getting into everything, let's get into this intro, okay? Let's go. So the record I have for you today is Jane Harvey. She's been on the scene for a while. I was reading here through the back of the record. So she used to play with Benny Goodman. Yeah. So I chopped it up. Already made the beat. I'm gonna go through everything that I did here with the record. So let's start at the beginning. I have many ideas written down in different sequences. First of all, let me show you the cuts that I have.
So there be no doubt.
This reminds me of MF Doom. I don't know why. But some of these chops, I feel like I've heard them before in other beats. Yeah, this program has some reverb on it, so I'm sorry, I can turn it off, it doesn't matter.
Two cups and la 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 la, the color la 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 la. It isn't easy being green. I am green like tongue.
I mean, tons of chops inside here. I'm not gonna go through all of them. A lot of stuff inside here. And as I said, man, what I do normally is I cut everything and then I start recording different sequences. I have my drum loop going always, so go to one sequence, try to get an idea down, then jump into another sequence, try to get another idea out. It's just a way that I like to work, is just quickly go and see what I can get out of these chops as quick as possible. And then I go back to the sequence that resonated the best for me. So yeah, I've recorded several sequences. This is one of them. These are just sketches. Just that. Then I jump onto other sequences. Yeah, the samples here already have some reverb to them, but they didn't in the beginning. And also the drums were different when I started. But yeah, so I just go from sequence to sequence to put down ideas. Just write something. Just write things. This is a fun one. I like this one. But yeah, went on to another sequence. There's something in here as well, it's funny. So whenever I find a chop that kind of feels like something that could be used, I'll just record it. I don't build the entire sequence, I just record the sound into the drums. So yeah, moving on. Ideas. I'm getting close to what I did at the end. So yeah, I'm enjoying these cuts. As you can see, I'm building around these cuts more and more, trying to find different combinations with the same cut. But then again, I go on to other sequences. See, this is another thing that I try, is using the same samples but try different drums, different drum swings, different sound of drums and stuff like that. Ah, this sounds really nice. I forgot about this one. Yeah, but then again, just putting down ideas, I might come back to it later on. And I think this kind of works with the other one. It might work, yeah. You can already hear some bass in the back there. That's me loading up my bass samples, my bass pack, which you can get. And yeah, you can hear the bass in the back already. That's me just trying combinations with the bass here. Then going on to another sequence. Okay, so this is where I find this trumpet. I enjoy how they sound, and they sound kind of happy and have groove. So I work on this. So I'm enjoying the other cuts, but once I find these cuts, I'm like, okay, this has a good mood. I think I want to pass this mood on to the video. I want something happy like this. And I'm enjoying it, but it's just not coming through what I have in my mind. It's just not in here. Even though I like these cuts, and I like the way they sound. Like there's some really nice tones to the samples, and everything works. But I think the drums they're just not hitting right, and I need to get a better bass under these cuts. So I need to find a better combination of samples. Anyway, moving on. I went back to the sequence before, and I added more sounds to it. So I'm going to deconstruct this sequence a little bit for you. I actually copied this sequence onto another one and changed the drums, added more bass to it, added a few extra samples as well. Yeah, I got my drums right here. So these drums have a bit of reverb on the snare. I have a little bit of a play here between the hi-hats, as you can hear. Which sounds good. Might need to swing them a little bit. Let's shift them just a little bit. There's a channel strip plug-in here just to compress a little bit of the drums before they go into the main outputs. Then I have this. So I added those horns into the tracks. I have some stereo width here just to open up the samples. So it just opens everything up a little bit. It gives room for the snares, the drums to hit, and the bass to go through the mix as well. So I have that. I have the horns. Then on track number 3, okay, so I have just this small little chop. Okay, so that builds everything up. Okay, track number 7. That guitar has a tube drive in it. So these are the main samples that are right in front that you can hear in the track. Then we go into this one. Again, I'm using the bass here, my bass sound pack. Okay. So the bass is doing a very simple thing, just going down a 7 and then up again. Then it has some chops in the middle, but that's pretty much it. Up again. So these are all the tracks that I have in the beat. These cuts are going to be on Patreon today. All the cuts, side A and side B. If you want to support the channel, go and get this sound pack that I have, the bass sound pack, and just check for the other ones I have as well. They're on my Bandcamp. If you want to support the channel, also you can go on to Patreon. I always share a lot of samples in there, things I take from records and things that I create. Every month I have a player that comes into the studio that I record, and then I share those chops onto Patreon. I'm trying to get a flute player this month to go onto Patreon, but I just can't seem to find one for some reason. So I don't know which instrument I'm going to put on Patreon this month. But definitely there will be an instrument, there will be chops, there will be drum loops. I try to share as much content as I can on Patreon. I'm going to play you the beat. Thank you so much for watching, for subscribing, for all the love that you guys been sharing. Great singer, great chops. Another record for me to put on in the morning when I take my coffee. Also, I would like to know if you prefer this one. I know it isn't finished, but do you prefer that one, or do you prefer the one I'm going to play you now? Peace. Take care.